Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. If you're a returning viewer, I greatly appreciate you and thanks for hanging around. Today we're going to be doing Letter from TryHackMe. At the time of this recording, this box has been out for 5 days, and I'm kind of excited on this one because this focuses on OSINT, which is not one of my strong suits, but I actually had a good bit of fun tackling this box and actually utilizing AI to help me. So just a quick reminder that if you find my content helpful and you like the way I present this, then please do give a subscribe to the channel. If you find this video helpful and you learned anything, please give it a thumbs up. Greatly appreciate. And I'm so excited that I'm actually getting close to 1,000 subscribers, which I never thought would happen. So thank you all for who has subscribed, and hopefully I can keep making content that interests you and I can keep earning that subscribership. So in this room, they give us a download, and that is simply a zip file here that I've already opened up, and we've got a couple of things from it. First, we have the image of a letter here. Now, if you notice, it says Edward G, and there's an SNSM. The rest of the address is marked out, and there's nothing else really on the letter of note except we have France here. This clipping of a paper, which obviously to my eyes is just French right off the bat. This, I'll show you later, it ends up being the date that's rubbed out. That makes it a little bit hard to pin down this paper. And I'm not fluent in French, so I don't know what most of this says on the screen. And then also we have a note. And as you can see, all in French. French. So first thing I decided to do was decode that note and see what it says. Thankfully, Google Translate was able to handle this one just fine, and I think it did a pretty good job on it. A couple things to note here is that your great-grandfather wasn't even old enough to get his driver's license when he distinguished himself that day. The youngest member of the team, and currently not the least, and certainly not the least courageous. So there was an event that happened with this person's ancestor. He was very young when it happened. He would be so proud to see you out on the water following in his footsteps. Now that helps point us in a direction we need to be thinking about, because what is SNSM? Well, if you do a search for French SNSM, you'll get this Wikipedia page, you'll get some information about it. Basically, the easiest way I can summarize it is, if you're familiar with, in America, we have the Coast Guard. Think of it as a volunteer Coast Guard force that focuses on rescue and helping people. They're not so much of a military aspect or combat aspect. It's more of, hey, there's issues out on the water, let's go help. That, if my understanding is correct, that's kind of what their main focus is. We're looking for someone who volunteered rescue services very young, and there was a tragic incident. So we got those two clues right now. So the newspaper clipping to me was going to be kind of the linchpin on figuring everything out. So I took it and did a reverse image search, and I went into AI mode. So you can see I gave it the image here, and sure enough, it gives us some information about it. Now it says, based on the headlines, historical events mentioned, it is taking a guess that it was published on May 26, 1925. Interesting little side note. I looked up the name of the newspaper, found its wiki page, and if you scroll all the way at the bottom, there's a digital archive service. So when we come to it, you can select the year you want to look at and everything and pull up articles. So if we go to 1925, May 26, you'll see that's not our clipping. But I do recognize the word catastrophe in French. So, okay, we have something here that's happened. And you look around a little bit, this catastrophe here is actually talked about several times, so it was a major event. If we go to the 24th, we'll see we have exactly our newspaper clipping here. And catastrophe in Fenestre. If I remember right, do Fenestre in Fenestre, if I'm saying the name of that right. If I'm not, I apologize. Like I said, horrible with French. So the first question is, what is the postal code of the delivery address on the envelope? Well, we don't have the delivery address on the envelope, but we are getting clues that an event happened in some location here. So here we have Fenestre, which if you look in, that's kind of like a, how to put it? For Americans, I would say think of it as a state type thing that is broken down into more regions, kind of like how we have counties. That's about the best way I can kind of describe it. But if we go back to the 26, you see it says pin mark. Well, if we take a look, we scroll down, we see here's the catastrophe in Fenestre that I was talking about. And I asked it, go down here, so can you tell me more about that catastrophe? And it refers to Pinmark, place we saw in the 26. So we take a look for pin mark, search for its postal code. You'll get it here. Sweet and simple, that's your first answer. Now, the second question, what is the flag? So back here on the boxes page, it gives us an example saying name underscore surname underscore age is what it's looking for. And we can see the example, it's a hyphenated first name underscore last name underscore age. So that gives us the type of framework we're looking for. So back to my little conversation with AI here. So it goes on, talks about what all happened, that there was a list of crew, and it's a well-known list. So I did ask, I'd like to know more about the rescuers that died. So it goes through, gives some information about the different events and stuff like that, and asks if it has a full list of names. It says yes, but it only gives me a partial list, and all these are over 20. Now, if you remember in the letter in the beginning, it said I wasn't even old enough to have a driver's license. So off the top of my head, I'm not sure what the legal age in France is to get a driver's license, let alone in 1925. I'm going to guess I'm looking for somebody under the age of 18. I'm probably looking for like a 16-year-old or something like that. That's where I'm kind of focusing in on. So in the list it gave, I didn't see anyone that seemed young enough. So then I asked it, who was the youngest person involved in the incident? And that's when it comes back with a person who went by the name of Yvonne, and his last name ends with a G, just like the person who our letter was sent to. So if we take his name, plop it in, and his age, which would be down here, you'll get your second flag. So that's my little walkthrough of letter. I know some people would be like, oh, you used AI to do it. Well, Usin's not my strong suit, and especially when you're coming into something like a foreign language that I am very inept with. So some of us are going to have to use tools like this to help find things. The question becomes is how do you frame your questions to find the information? And are you going to do your due diligence or research with those answers to find out if they're really what you're looking for? And so anytime I put out a video where I'm going to be using AI, I'm going to try and help present that information. And like, you need to think about this way, you need to ask your questions this way, you need to validate the information you get, because I don't want people to just trust it blindly. But in this case, it was pretty much on point, save the wrong publish date, really. But everything else was pretty much on point that it returned. So it was a really great help. And I actually learned a little bit about an area in France and about an event that apparently to this day, people still remember and commemorate. Well, that's all for this video. And you like the way I present things, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time.